What if I told you that the most important hip-hop collaboration of the last decade already existed? And we're probably never going to hear it. I'm talking about multiple lost records. Songs that could have changed the entire direction of hip-hop history. Songs that involved J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, and Drake, the so-called Big Three. And not just one track, but several. And here's the crazy part. These records didn't disappear because of scheduling issues. They didn't get scrapped because of creative differences. They were buried because of ego, alliances, and quiet power plays happening behind the scenes. Today, we're going to break down why J. Cole is now stuck, why Drake overplayed his hand, and why Kendrick Lamar saw everything coming and responded perfectly. By the end of this video, you'll understand why the fall off still isn't out, why the Big Three can never exist again, and why Kendrick's move on like that wasn't sudden at all, it was calculated. So buckle up, because this story gets uncomfortable fast. This entire situation exploded because of one conversation that wasn't supposed to matter, but absolutely did. On the Rory and Mal podcast, a comment slipped out that instantly changed the narrative. And while I can't show the clip directly, the message was clear. According to Mal, someone who is openly close with Drake and deeply connected in the industry, both Kendrick Lamar and Drake had 2 features, each on J. Cole's album The Fall Off. Let that sink in. Not one verse. Not one cameo. For total appearances between Kendrick and Drake. And then came the most telling part of the statement. That's why we never got the album. Cole had to start over. That single sentence explains years of silence. Because people don't casually make claims like that, especially about their friends, unless the information comes from somewhere real. This wasn't speculation. This was leakage. At first glance, some people brushed this off. They said Rory and Mal weren't credible. They said it sounded exaggerated. But here's the problem with that dismissal. Mal wouldn't publicly say something that Drake didn't want out there. He wouldn't casually imply that Drake was involved in scrapped music without approval. And he definitely wouldn't risk damaging his relationship over a lie. So if this information came out, it's because someone wanted it to come out. And once you look at it that way, the story shifts. This wasn't about hyping Cole. This wasn't about celebrating collaboration. This was about rewriting history. Quietly framing Kendrick as the obstacle and positioning Drake and Cole as the ones who tried to keep the Big Three together. But that framing collapses once you understand the timeline. For years, J. Cole tried to play the middle. He branded himself as neutral, the peaceful bridge, the guy above the beef. But hip-hop doesn't work like that. You can't claim neutrality while standing next to power, and Cole repeatedly stood next to Drake. From repeating Drake's talking points, to appearing on stage with him, to aligning himself during moments when Kendrick was clearly being sidelined. Cole wasn't neutral. He was passive, and passivity in hip-hop is a choice. By choosing not to push back, Cole helped push Kendrick out of the cultural center. And the culture noticed. To really understand how things fell apart, we have to rewind. The fall off wasn't some recent idea. Cole introduced this concept back in 2018, even teasing it on KOD, specifically on 1985. That song wasn't just a diss at Lil Pump. It was a commentary on the decline of hip-hop values, the erosion of lyricism, and the rise of empty spectacle. Back then, Kendrick and Cole were aligned. They were working in studios. Dreamville and TD were on good terms. There was mutual respect. This wasn't a rivalry, it was a shared mission. If you need proof, look at Revenge of the Dreamers 3. On Under the Sun, we got a glimpse of what a modern Kendrick-Cole collaboration could sound like. Kendrick's hook wasn't flashy, it was reflective. Cole's verses were grounded and sharp. You could hear a shared frustration with the state of rap. And that wasn't the only session. Based on everything we know now, it's very likely Kendrick and Cole recorded multiple tracks between 2018 and 2019. Versus Cole was quietly holding on to for the fall off. Those songs existed long before Drake entered the picture. Fast forward to 2022 to 2023. This is when Drake gets involved. Suddenly, Cole is touring with Drake, appearing on stage during It's All a Blur, publicly aligning himself in moments that clearly sidelined Kendrick. Then comes FPS, a record that subtly reframed the Big Three conversation in Drake's favor. These weren't accidents, they were moves, and Kendrick noticed, because while Cole may not have intended harm, Drake absolutely knew what he was doing. Drake didn't just collaborate with Cole, he used proximity. By standing next to Cole, Drake gained lyrical credibility. By touring with Cole, Drake gained cultural insulation. By repeatedly invoking the Big Three, Drake reframed hip-hop leadership without Kendrick's consent. And when Kendrick realized what was happening, the decision became simple. He stopped waiting. When Kendrick jumped on like that, people acted shocked. But this wasn't impulsive. This was a response to years of quiet positioning, subtle erasure, and strategic alliances. Like that wasn't just a diss, it was a reset. Kendrick wasn't asking for space anymore. He was taking it. And in doing so, he exposed the entire structure that Cole and Drake had been building. Now ask yourself this. How does Cole release an album built around 4 verses from 2 artists who are now in open war? He can't. Those songs are too important to remove, too central to the vision, too powerful to quietly erase. And neither Kendrick nor Drake are likely clearing those verses now. Cole is stuck. Drake still dropped music. Kendrick had one of the most dominant years of his career. But Cole? He's frozen. An album announced in 2018, still unreleased. A vision compromised by alliances. A moment missed. And that's the real tragedy. This story isn't just about beef. It's about choosing sides without realizing it. It's about power moves disguised as collaboration. And it's about why Kendrick Lamar operates on a completely different level. If you made it this far, you already know. Hip-hop never forgets. And neither does Kendrick. If you enjoyed this breakdown, leave a like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments. Do you think the fall off will ever come out? Or is it officially buried forever? Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.